was about. Now there's going to be another women's movement. You need to realize this. If you haven't read Ben Wattenberg's book, The Birth of Earth, you need to realize that in this country right now, we've got a whole lot of white folks who are scared to death because they know that within 30 years, white people will have lost their numerical majority in the United States of America. And if you haven't read that book in which he says, the biggest problem confronting this country today is there are too few white babies being born in this country. If we don't solve this problem and solve it quickly, white people will lose their numerical majority, and this will no longer be a white man's land. Now, I know a whole lot of Native American people, of First Nations people, who don't think this is a white man's land. They think it's a... He says there are three things we can do to solve this problem. They're trying to outlaw abortion. They're trying to tell women once again what they can do with their bodies. If a woman has to be punished for having by getting pregnant, whether or not she wants to, has to be punished by bearing that child, then the person who contributed to that unwanted pregnancy has to be held responsible for two. So I think there's a... Hey, wait, don't waste my time. There's a perfectly logical... There's a perfectly logical remedy for this problem. Any male who contributes to an unwanted pregnancy must submit to involuntary vasectomy so that he cannot contribute to another unwanted pregnancy. Now, people, you need to know that vasectomy takes only a few minutes in the doctor's office. It isn't very painful. My husband's vasectomy didn't hurt me at all. Now, you also need to realize that vasectomy is reversible. Motherhood is not reversible. Once you're a mother, you are a mother for as long as you live. That's the way it is. Even if you give that child up for adoption, you still hear that child crying in the night, and you wonder how he or she is getting along. People, vasectomy is reversible. Young males could have a vasectomy and have a lot of fun without a whole lot of responsibility, and then when they want to produce a child, when they want to contribute to a wanted pregnancy, then they could have that vasectomy reversed. How many of you think that would be a logical conclusion to this problem? Right. Now, folks, somebody has said denial is not just a river in Egypt. In this country today, we are in deep denial about the fact that we are deeply racist. We are teaching racism in the schools on a daily basis. And if you haven't read Nathan Rutstein's book, The Racial Conditioning of Our Children, you need to get it and read it. This man knew what he was talking about. Now, somebody said this morning, he did, well, Jane came here in a sweatshirt. Yes, I came here in a sweatshirt, people, because I'm working, number one. Number two, this thing says exactly what I believe. Racism, prejudice is an emotional commitment to ignorance. Now, the problem with white people is not white innocence. Somebody this week has called it in a book, has called it white innocence. It's not white innocence, and it's not white privilege. It's white ignorance. And until white people get educated to the fact that they are not superior because of the lack of melanin in their skin, that's how long we'll have this problem.
Normal amounts. If you go to Cape Town, if you come here in Sandton, in Joburg here, land is extremely expensive, making it impossible for even a willing buyer in South Africa to buy a piece of land at waterfront. That is a deliberate exclusion. Mandela gave them a favorable deal. He said, willing buyer, willing seller. They didn't take advantage of that and sell at a reasonable price. No, they were not willing to sell. They even increased the price. Cape Town is only affordable to the foreigners. Not even a South African multimillionaire black person, Robert Gumed, will not afford to buy a place at waterfront without the support of the PIC. No, you have to get some huge financial institution to back you up before you can afford to buy a piece of land in waterfront in Cape Town. What type of policy is this? What type of freedom is this? That 24 years into democracy, we are worse than the way we were during apartheid. It can't be. Then terror must tell us what must happen. What is terror's policy, which is different from what is happening now? Is terror saying we must continue with willing buyer, willing seller? even when it's not working. It has not worked. Multimillionaires in South Africa can't afford houses, proper houses at strategic places in this country. They've made it deliberately so to exclude black people. In the townships now, go to Soweto. Houses that were extremely cheap in Soweto are now extremely expensive. Why? Property must be a reserved thing for white minority. But because we can't say this is for whites, we use money to exclude and perpetuate racism and apartheid.
Of course. I mean, the situation's bad. We were in Diepsloot yesterday. Diepsloot should not exist in 2018 South Africa. And the irony of Diepsloot is that it emerged and ballooned and developed post-94. I last went there about, 12 years ago. It was tiny, a bit rough. Now it's a mess, right? It's horrendous. It's a bad place. Something's wrong. I guess a lot of people disagree on how to fix the solution.
But the good thing is that we're talking about it.
Of course. And Parliament's healthy.
We welcome this. We welcome this debate because in the past, it was a taboo to even talk about it.
Because we're the rainbow nation and everything's fine.
You will offend the white people, you will offend the investors. Don't even touch it.
Right.
That's why it stayed like this. But the fact that we're talking about it, and as the EFF, we're not saying we're correct in everything.
Right.
We're listening, we're engaging, we're debating, we'll be told. Once a consensus is reached, we're more than ready to work with everybody to find. But they hate the idea of equality. That irritates them, that a monkey can never be equal to a white man. They don't want that. I'm hated for that. There's no crime I've committed. I've never slapped a white person. I've never done anything to a single white person bad in this country. Nothing. I've never called for their slaughter. I've never called for their killing. Her torturing, it's crime. After interviewing her, you should have asked Mpho to give you more, or go to the police station to ask for more cases of black women in this country, how they get to be treated by their partners, by criminals. They've got more terrible story to tell than what she's telling you. They die every day. Who called for black people to be tortured like that? Who called for black people to be killed like that? Black girls to be killed like that? No one. Why are they being killed? It's crime. So, because she is white, she must not be touched. She must not be affected by crime. Anything affecting her is political. It can't be crime. It means these blacks are coming for us, which is not true. It's a false alarm. They hate me for saying we must be equal. That idea alone traumatizes them. Remember that when you are so used to having this potion and someone says, I'm bringing more people and as a result you must have half of it, they're like, no man, it's not going to happen. But I don't mind it. They will get used to the idea. They will have to work themselves out of privilege. Because equality threatens privilege. They are scared that privilege is going away. That's why they hate me for that. They hate everyone who wants to liberate the mind of black people. That we are not monkeys, that we are not subhumans. We are human too, and we are equal to them. They took our land, and when they took our land, they said we don't have title deeds because that's a requirement in terms of European standards. And if you don't have a title deed, you can be treated like an animal. Therefore, you are subhuman because no lion can produce a title deed, although he's the king of the jungle. No elephant can produce a title deed. We are equal like elephants. We are subhuman. And anyone who says to these people, no, you are different from animals, you are human too, you too can work the land, you too can own the land, you too can employ white people, and they can work for you. They're like, He's being disrespectful, this one. He wants to elevate these people to our level. What do? They start smearing me. He's a racist. He wants to kill white people and all that. I'm backing this, that which I'm putting on the table is the best offer to white people. Let black people too own the land and see how much crime is going to reduce and see how much service delivery protests are going to reduce, because people will be preoccupied with working the land. They are idling now. They don't own anything. They are waiting for employment. They are standing at the robots with qualifications. They went to school. They responded to Madiba's call that you kids must go to school. We've gone to school. There are no employment. And I'm saying to these people, the employments are not in the white people's hands. The employment is in the land. Let's get our land and let's work our land. I'm hated for that.